Okay, so we're going to get started, I think. Are we ready? Yes, we're going to get started. Okay, so welcome to Net Tuesday. The question I always ask at first is how many people are new here? How many people this is the first time for coming? Okay, so about our traditional 50%. I'll explain a little bit about what Philly NetSquared and Net Tuesday is, and we're going to get on with our program pretty quickly. So Philadelphia NetSquared is one of a number of NetSquared groups around the world. They're all actually different. The way that we think of ourselves is joined around the theme of using the social web for social change in some respect. And we try and make our programming and activities relevant to that or to the people who respond to that. The main thing that we do are these Net Tuesdays, which are the first Tuesday of every month. And then the second Tuesday, which is a week from tonight, we'll have a planning meeting that everyone is invited to as we continue to discover what's coming next. We also have a website and a Google group, which can be, the Google group can have some interesting discussions and is a good place to try and get some additional feedback and information. Here's some of the past Net Tuesdays that we've done. Last week we did Google Plus, and I won't go through all these. But one thing you'll notice is that in April and December, we also had crowdsourcing change events, and it's been a format which has worked out, which has been popular and fun for a lot of people to use. And those are some of the names of the former organizations that were the subjects of the crowdsourcing change events. In addition to people being gathered here in the Friends Center, we're welcoming people in cyberspace. We're streaming this out. There are 2 cameras here and there. If you prefer not to be on camera, go into that corner over there. You don't have to face the corner. Just if you go into the corner, we'll make sure that the video doesn't actually capture your image if that's what you would like. And also, we're supporting a Twitter back channel with the hashtag of PHLNET2. So you can tweet from here, or other people who are remote, and we know there are some remote participants, are tweeting. Ivan back there, who is monitoring the Twitter chat, and so if people check in and say hi, that he can know how many people are actually listening, and if he gets questions or comments throughout this session, he'll kind of raise his hand as a normal person, and he'll be representing the comments of people from afar. In addition to these events as being programs, we also think of them as networking events. So when you came in, if you haven't done this already, please sign the sign-in sheet. I will redistribute people's names and email addresses to the other attendees. And if you leave a business card, I'll scan those and send out the scanned images to everyone. So people can have that. If there are some blank business cards, if you didn't bring one or if you'd prefer to create a new identity for tonight. We also have a no question is too stupid policy and the tags. People can tag themselves with more than just their name. In this case, it's something about how they feel about the oncoming season as a conversation starter and another opportunity for networking. We have a door prize. We actually have a surprise door prize. So tonight, we're giving away a free pass to Social Media Plus, which is happening in November. It is a $495 value. In order to qualify for that, you need to fill in one and only one of the red tickets back there. All you really need is your name. We'll be doing the drawing between the presentations. And I want to thank Gloria Bell for setting that up. We also, as a last-minute bonus prize, are giving away a free pass to PodCamp Philly. PodCamp Philly, happening October 1st and 2nd. Gloria, do you want to say anything about either of those events?
Sure. I'll stand up so everybody can help me. First of all, PodCamp Philly is October 1st and 2nd at Temple University. And PodCamp is a bar camp style conference, which means all of our content is user generated. Anyone can submit a session to speak, and we slot as many people as we possibly can over the 2 days. And I don't want the name PodCamp to fool you. It is anything and everything digital media. We'll be talking social media, podcasting, blogging, development, design, anything having to do with digital media and digital networking. So that is October 1st and 2nd, Temple University. Okay, nobody really needs to hear me. And the website is podcampphilly.com, right, Steve?
Yes, that's it. It's also on the back of your tag tags.
Oh, okay. There we go. And Social Media Plus this is our second year here in Philadelphia. Last year, our inaugural year, we had over 750 business people attend. It is a very business-focused social media conference. But one of the things that I want to encourage anyone, whether you're coming for your business, for a nonprofit, all of the principles, all the theory is the same, and I can guarantee you're going to take something away from the conference that you can actually implement that day. We have speakers such as Mayor Nutter, who's going to be opening our conference for us. Jason Falls is our keynote. Christopher Penn. Desiree Bell, who is the communications director for the city of Philadelphia, is going to be talking about how she took this behemoth and pulled it together to actually create a social media plan for the entire city. We are covering everything from HR and recruiting to sales and business development. We have an executive track. We have a marketing and PR track. There's a little something for everyone. And it's actually a day-and-a-half conference. Tuesday the 15th, we're doing a series of in-depth workshops on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google AdWords and Analytics. Tuesday night, we are having an open-to-the-public cocktail party on our exhibition floor at the Convention Center. And then Wednesday, we have 24 sessions that we're running on all of those different areas of social media. So I encourage you. Early bird discounts expire this Friday. If you purchase your ticket before this Friday, you get $100 off. And in addition, there is a 15% off discount code that's been given to Philly NetSquared. So you can get 15% plus that $100 off. So I really encourage you, if you're thinking about going, buy your tickets early.
So I want to thank Gloria for helping to set this up for us. Okay, so as Gloria mentioned, Philly NetSquared is a promotional partner of Social Media Plus, so you get a 15% discount. And the other things I want to talk about just very quickly are the housekeeping. There's some food over there. We don't want to have any left over, so please eat it. We do composting as well as recycling in this building. It's a Platinum LEED certified building. All of the food is compostable, even the meats and cheeses. The bathrooms are over to the right, over right past the elevators. We have Wi-Fi access. It's an open internet access with the AFSC network. And if you parked in the lot right across 15th Street, you can get your card validated for 10 or 20% discount at the front desk. And finally, the sponsors for tonight are the American Friends Service Committee, which is one of the tenants of this building, and Chevy Volt. So that's really what we have to start with. And what I'd like to do at this point is just invite people to quickly introduce themselves, and we'll go around. We'll see who's here. So if you could just say just who you are and what about maybe why you're here. So my name is Seth Horowitz. I'm a consultant under the name of CommuniShare, and I work a lot here with the American Friends Service Committee. And I'm here because I keep learning stuff. So if we can talk into the mic for the sake of the recording, appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Steve Sontag. I'm part of the team that's putting Generocity.org together.
I'm David Fair. I'm also part of the Generosity team, and what I hope to get out of this is a lot of good advice from you guys.
Hi, I'm Diane Reid. I'm Executive Director of Cade Kids, and I'm here to learn.
Ted Reed. I'm here representing Friends Center City.
Hi, I'm Josh Bielkoff. I'm here representing Sataris, and I hope that I'll be able to share some ideas.
Hi, I'm Eric Lucas. I'm a volunteer with Luther Disaster Response and also web developer.
I'm Dov Gorman with Summit Horizons, and I'm here to see what's going on.
I'm Lamar Kendrick, here to learn.
I'm Dean Harris. I'm a long-time software developer, and I'm working with a lot of organizations in STEM, with STEM in Philadelphia. And of course, I'm here to learn as well.
Hi, Sharon Torello. I have a social website called Local Arts Live about classical music in Philadelphia, and I'm here to learn.
Hi, I'm Stan Pokris with Nonprofit Technology Resources. We're doing a bunch of things, so I will hold off talking about them all.
Hi, I'm Pat Sabau. I'm a web developer. I just moved to Philadelphia 3 months ago, and I'm interested in technology and social change.
I'm David Mosenkis. I work for Tibco Spotfire, and I'm interested in ways to apply visualization and analytics for social good.
Hi, Johanna Levitt. I'm a social worker. I'm here to learn.
Hi, John James with Miscellaneous. I'm here to learn about these projects.
I'm Stefan Frank, Director of National Programs at the Constitution Center and also web content producer for the blog. And I'm here to help if I can and hopefully take away some lessons that will apply to our work.
My name is Marisol Isel, and I'm the president of Centro de Apoyo Comunitario, which is a Latino women's group in Upper Darby. I'm here to learn.
I'm with Energy with a Mission. My name is Ron King, and I'm interested particularly in the ethical aspects of social networking as it relates to fundraising for nonprofits.
I'm Ivan Booth. I do social media consulting and web development under rootwork.org. And I'm here because I'm the co-organizer and also because I'm looking for folks who might want to present or have ideas for future Philly Net Tuesday topics. So let me know if you fit either of those profiles.
Hi, I'm Andrew Sather. I work for Jenkins Law Library, and I'm here because I'm here every month. And then this is my favorite topic, so I definitely am looking forward to hearing about your organizations, and I hope I can contribute something. And Seth just reminded me that I'm co-hosting something next month for NetSquared. And so if you're interested in me, come, and I'll tell you more about myself at that point. And I'm going to hold off telling you what I'll be talking about until I know myself, because I've forgotten what I agreed to. Thank you.
I'm Paul Bloor. I'm with the William Way LGBT Community Center, and I'm here to learn and get ideas for the center's sake and for my own sake.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy Sharp. I'm now the development news editor at Flying Kite Media, and I'm here because I'm always here.
Okay, we'll just catch the corner, and we'll get started.
Hi everyone, my name is Manisha Sane. I work with the Philadelphia Mural Arts Program. I've been coming to these events for a long time now, and have always been interested in looking at how nonprofits are using technology to advance their mission.
Hi there, I'm Podcast Steve on Twitter, Steve Lubetkin from professionalpodcasts.com, and we produce audio and video content for the web, and we push the buttons here, and that's why the cameras look so shaky.
Yeah, so I want to acknowledge the roles being played now by Steve and Manisha. So Steve is actually, as he said, managing the cameras, also managing what gets shown on the screen, which can come from several computers, and what's being shown out through the internet stream. And Manisha will be taking notes as we get into the discussion, which we'll be displaying on the screen and then redistributing to everyone. So we'll try and capture the collective crowd wisdom that we have here. But also, as I mentioned to Manisha before, we invite you to collaborate in that note-taking. So if she writes something down and it's not spelled right, or you think it should be combined with something else, or it stimulates some other thought, help her out and ask her to improve the notes somehow, and that'll improve it for all of us. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Denny Casserell, who is moderating for tonight, and she'll introduce what's happening.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Danny Casserell, and I am the moderator for Crowdsourcing Change, and I'm very happy to see that all of you came out in this inclement weather for what is sure to be an exciting program. We're going to be working with two sites, which is Patch Adams and Generocity. They're both relatively new. Well, Patch Adams is very recently launched, correct? Yes, and Generocity, fairly new. Anyway, so let me just, and FYI, I'm a web consultant, and I actually recently also took a position at Health Partners, which is a local nonprofit HMO, as their online and new media specialist. And basically, let me just explain how the program works. It's very simple. Each organization gets about 15 minutes to explain what their organization does, their mission, their goals, how they're currently working to achieve their outreach and their marketing, their communications. If they have any social media programs, they'll explain what they are. If they're completely new to social media, as with Patch Adams is the case, it's a great opportunity for us to help them get their feet wet and learn how to dive into it or step into it, as the case may be. So they'll give their presentations, and then the floor, oops. I always do that. When there's a glass, I would normally knock the glass over. Luckily, there isn't any here. But then the floor gets opened up to you, our crowd, and it's called crowdsourcing. And then basically it's the wisdom of you, our crowd, to offer your feedback, your suggestions, and those suggestions can come in the way of, telling them how they could possibly utilize Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or any thoughts that you have that you think would be helpful to them with regard to social media as applied to their goals and objectives. So I think that's fairly self-explanatory, and many of you have been here before. Again, the Twitter hashtag for people who are outside is hashtag PHLNET2, PHLNet2, and we will be taking your questions and your suggestions as well. So I'm just going to start off first with the Patch Adams website. And just very briefly, Patch Adams is a new endeavor. It's a clinic that would like to open up here in Philly that will be operating under the philosophy of Patch Adams. And if anyone has seen the movie that Robin Williams is in or have seen any of the news items about Patch Adams, he's the Dr. Clown who uses humor in his healthcare provisions, and he's known all around the world. And this is an organization that wants to set up a clinic, based on the way that he likes to operate a facility here in Philadelphia. It's going to be a nonprofit, and it will be in an environmentally friendly structure to be located in a low-income neighborhood in Philadelphia. And I'm going to let Paul Glover, the founding director, explain the rest of what the organization does and what their goals are. And here's Paul. And Paul, do you want to tell them also you bought some noses for our crowd? Let them know. Some clown noses.
Well, our modest initial fundraiser is to provide a clown nose to anyone who donates to the Patch Adams Free Clinic. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. As you've said, we intend to locate the Patch Adams Free Clinic in a low-income neighborhood in Philadelphia by contract with Patch Adams, who is allowing us to be the first free clinic to establish in his name. Several years ago, I told him I wanted to see his smiling face on rotating signs all over this country. How many of you are familiar with Patch Adams and or have seen the movie Patch Adams? Some of you have not. Patch Adams is, as you've said, the Dr. Clown who 40 years ago raised a critique of the medical profession, saying that it should be more humane, more loving. That is an essential part of healing the body, the healing of the spirit at the same time simultaneously. So I've affiliated with Patch Adams for several years. I started a health cooperative in Ithaca, New York, and would like to begin by showing a 6-minute video which summarizes what we intend to do, what we intend to become here in Philadelphia. Quite an outstanding and unusual and unique medical example. Member-owned, as you've said, so that we move beyond charity to ownership through the generosity of the community. Let's show this, and then we'll come back and talk about what we are seeking to do through the web and through social media. This is Patch Adams, the Dr. Clown who has devoted his life to proving that love, fun, and justice are partners in healing. His life story was featured in the 1998 movie starring Robin Williams. As a medical student, Patch spread renegade happiness throughout the hospital. Here's another movie called The Real Patch Adams, which shows him traveling the world, bringing humor and healing wherever need is great. Now Patch wants to bring this happy medicine to Philadelphia, where together we are creating the world's first Patch Adams free clinic beyond his home base, the Gesundheit Institute in rural West Virginia. Patch himself will visit us too as we progress. To launch this clinic, we've signed a contract with Patch to ensure that our standards match the beautiful example he sets. So Philadelphia will host another American revolution, a revolution in healthcare. The Patch Adams Free Clinic will provide basic primary care to everybody: checkups, dental, optical, and laughter. Clinic members will pay a small annual fee for extra benefits like massage, chiropractic, even veterinary care. Clinic members will be owners, and ownership gives them the power to decide what services we'll have and what it will cost. There are practical alternatives.
Way to go, Paul.
Thank you very much. Well, we've gotten started. Way to begin. The challenge before us, of course, is to reach a variety of audiences. And we've begun with a website. Jim Wurster has put it together. We're seeking to reach the people with the financial backing, the people with the official approvals, and of course the related medical professions, facilities, and volunteers. We need, in fact, through the website extensively, to develop the credibility in order to obtain the land. The city of Philadelphia owns 300 vacant lots which are 2 acres or larger and are sitting on those land banking, and we, in order credibly and forcefully, effectively, to lay claim to at least one of those lots, we'll need to develop credibility with the neighbors, of course. We have to speak to many audiences. That's the challenge here. If we were just having a toothpick website, get your toothpicks, you have wood or plastic, that's it, buy them here. It would be very simple. We appeal to people who want to clean their teeth with toothpicks. But here we have a complex project, and we're seeking to appeal to a broad variety of audiences and seek their affiliation and encouragement and backing. So we need not only the backing of the neighbors within whichever neighborhood we locate. We need to demonstrate organizational credibility. We need to show architectural credibility and rigor, the structure of the building. We need legal credibility and standing, meet all the code standards. We need through the website extensively, and of course face-to-face meetings, to prove that we can do it, that we have operational credibility, that once it's built, we can maintain the variety of programs intended to take place in here. Not only medical care, but this is an economic development center for green jobs particularly. And we are assuming that in the neighborhoods which are the most left behind, there is a tremendous variety, capability, and talent which the prevailing economy does not recognize or respect. That is our challenge and our mission, I think, most profoundly. And through the medium of unmet medical needs, prove that we can take control in a very grassroots manner over a situation which is terrible in Philadelphia and increasingly throughout the United States. So we hope to set an example. So this is the website. Jim is our webmaster. And a couple professional folks have put together the flash animation. The main functions that we're emphasizing here is that we're inviting people to volunteer, donate, join. The articulation of this program was complete basically a year ago, and then we've waited another year in order to have the back end stuff ready sufficiently so that people could register to volunteer, donate, and join. So we want to do a tour of the, you can see we have Facebook and Twitter. And we have nearly 500 people affiliated on Facebook, most of whom live far and wide. And if we call a meeting locally, why, they wish us well, because they like what we do. And then Twitter, we have a very small number of people following us so far, and we haven't led them anywhere yet. So, what should we do? Should we click on a volunteer, join, or donate button? Shall we click on our Facebook page?
Well, I don't know. I would just say that maybe we should present some of our challenges. And you've elucidated them a little bit, but I can expand on them a little bit. Since we are trying to gather so many different niches of people, that's our challenge. We've been laboring for a long time to try to get something right in order to present it so that people can use it in many different ways. That's been our challenge, and I don't think we've succeeded in doing it. So those are one set of things that we're looking for. How do we reach a multitude of categories of people, as Paul mentioned, for money, for volunteering, for joining the cause, to help us promote this, and so on. So that's one really big concern. And we were hoping to do it through Facebook, which we have a pretty good following, and haven't really done much with Twitter, as Paul mentioned. We have a Google group, but that's kind of, I don't think, really the focus. And we have a pretty good set of mailing lists in constant contact with over 1,000 people. So we have a variety of people that we can reach out to, but my feeling is that we don't necessarily know how to reach out to them. What's the best way to do it? What's the best way to engage them? What's the best way or the most efficient way to get what we need from them? That's our challenge, and probably everybody else's challenge when they have an organization, a nonprofit organization. So we're really no different than anybody else.
I would say that there is no substitute for meeting people face to face, and that most of the people who have most strongly affiliated with this have come to one of the initial potluck gatherings that we've had. Everybody attending a potluck gets a free clown nose. And these are the people who have stepped in, who have been met face to face. And I think as we gain momentum, then the people who have connected with us electronically are likelier to get into the flow. But the initial and the pioneers, most strongly affiliated and active, have been met face to face. There's no substitute for standing out in the public with a table.
Okay. So first of all, there's quite a lot for us to dig into here, right? We've got all different constituencies, audiences, various needs that they want to accomplish with social media. So I will open up the floor.
And just for the sake of our recording and our stream, I'd like to ask people to tolerate the inconvenience of using the microphone.
I wasn't doing it. Okay. No, all right, sorry. Okay. Broke the rule. Okay. So just raise your hand and go.
How about just taking one or two of the people you want to reach and make like you're that type of person and go through and tell us how you would do that, and then we'll see whether that makes sense as to how we would explore the same site. And we can talk about whether it's providing the information they want. But you pick the two types of people you want to reach.
I would imagine that there seem to be several things that need to happen simultaneously. But in order to get the ear and assent of City Council, which determines whether or not land is provided to us, we need to have enthusiasm from the grassroots, from neighborhood organizations. That's essential. I think cartoons are I've been a community organizer for over 40 years, and I've always used cartoons to make complicated things simple. And also, as I say, to stand out in public places and go to meetings. But I think that is an essential foundation for getting our feet on the ground somewhere. We have the same video that was shown to you in Spanish, because the greatest interest shown to us so far has been in the council district of Maria Quinona Sanchez. So that, I think, would be... but yet, to do that appeal and that outreach in such a way that it has credibility with the officials at the same time.
Did you want to have some response to that?
What I was suggesting is put yourself in the mindset of that local neighborhood person. You see this website, where do you go?
Mm-hmm.
Follow through and tell us what you're trying to tell them at each
You need to
stage.
do it right now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
All right, well, we would hope that they would either want to volunteer, join, or donate. So if they want to volunteer, then they click on that link. It goes to a page with a couple of cartoons on it, informative. It gives a list of committees that they can volunteer for, a little more verbiage. And basically, they have to go back up to the top again to click here to volunteer, which is a little obtuse at this point. And they have a lot of forms to fill out and make the choices.
Before they would volunteer, they would look at the introduction, hopefully, which says this is what it's about, the About button.
Well,
okay,
we don't know that.
Okay. All right. Just for the sake of keeping our conversation focused, I think it's good if you want to talk a little bit about the site, but just because we're very limited on our time, we'd like to try and keep it focused to if you want to use the web, but as the jumping off point for getting into whatever you're going to do with social media, as opposed to saying I like this color or that color or whatever, but just keeping it under the umbrella of how it applies with social media, if that's all right. Because that's normally how we do it, and it's just you can just get into a lot of tangents, if we start,
So maybe we should put it right to the Facebook page.
That would be great. And Gloria, you will be next.
Okay.
Actually, while they're opening that, I have a question first, and then probably a follow-up comment depending on the answer. When you're putting something up on your Facebook page, or you're sending out a tweet, what do your calls to action look like? What are you asking for, and how are you asking for it?
We have through Facebook and through our constant contact announcements of potluck gatherings. And we are inviting people to be members of committees. We have a bunch of committees. This is the hard work. A lot of people like us on Facebook, but when it comes down to being on a committee, that's a different thing. So we are seeking to get the people whose dedication is so strong that they would actually become responsible for one or another of these elements of development.
Okay. Because one suggestion I have, just kind of listening to this and looking at the website, is because you're dealing with such short messages in social media, each message I would concentrate on a single call to action, a volunteer call to action, a committee member call to action, a donor call to action. And you can intersperse those messages, but make sure that every message has a specific call to action.
Right, a focus. You're right that we have done more general broadcasts. I'm trying to put in a password here. Okay, you had to push the right button. You're right. Yes, we've done some general broadcasts that cast a broad net, saying we're doing this, and that. The other thing as well, do this, the other thing, and the other thing as well. So we've also done focus. All right.
Okay. So why don't we scroll through? Oh.
I'm back.
What? This one?
Here we are. One thing I notice is that whenever someone joins our group, the notification of their having been accepted into the group is not removable. And so, as far as I know, as an administrator, that gets in the way of the flow of conversation on this group site. Is that so?
Are you logged in as a page or as an individual?
This is a group? Oh, who's that?
It's not a page,
No,
it's a group.
It's a.
That's the problem.
Yeah. That you need a page.
We have a,
So you set this up as a group rather than a page? Is that?
Yeah. Maybe we need an explanation of the difference between group and page.
Yeah.
Because I've been debating that myself and I don't really understand it.
I attended one of these meetings which was about that, and I did not comprehend it.
Well, my understanding is that when you have the page, it's sort of it represents the business or organization, whereas a group can just be any group of people that have some affinity to whatever that topic is. And it actually is not, if you are a business or organization, you're supposed to have a page as opposed to a group. And in fact, Facebook, if they see that you are an organization using a group, when they'll ask you to actually switch over to a page. So the group is more, it's just like a group of people that just have some sort of affinity for whatever that subject is. So it might be people that are interested in what you're doing, or that like what you're doing, or whatever, and they're just it's almost like a online.
Or the committee.
Yeah.
It could be the committee.
Yeah.
Like there could be a group.
But for your official Facebook account, you should have what's called a Facebook page, and if you were to just if you just want to take notes or something, but if you just type in like Facebook page or whatever, when you're on Facebook, how to create a Facebook page, they have a really quickie manual. It's fundamentally what you've done here, but it just sets up a little differently on the back end, and then it shows you how many people liked you and who you like, and your wall will.
How do you easily translate all your members from the group into your page?
Well, what you do is you send an email. That's always the thing when people are like, you send emails out to them and just say that your group is switching to a Facebook page. And
Didn't you have both?
Yeah, I would actually say this gentleman down here had a great idea to make them the committee. I would leverage the problem and say we've introduced a Facebook page. You all, the early adopters, are now our super committee. You're our online committee. And they can play that role for you as the early adopters or ambassadors, the people who are really, really interested in what you're doing, and demonstrated that by signing up early. Just create another page and say we've now started a storefront, a page for the site, and we'd love you to follow. And most of them probably will. But I would leverage this opportunity as your people who were there from the ground floor and really keep them involved. They're the ones you care about the most, at least at this point in your lifespan. But if we could get back to the questions that you raised earlier that you were articulating. First, from someone who works at the Constitution Center, I was really, really taken by this idea that this is a new revolution. Philadelphians love being first. So I would definitely leverage that in the narrative that you're trying to deploy on this site and really maximize that. And to the same extent, if your first real challenge is a location, is a place, a venue, constituent, the city council has to hear from and also listen to and support their constituents. So use that to your advantage to get the communities to be almost competing with each other, to understand the competitive advantage of having that in their area, in their neighborhood, and get them to be competing with each other to get ownership of this. I mean, this could be a really quality site in a neighborhood, really transform a neighborhood. This could be huge. So I would use the crowdsourcing and say, hey, you know, this could potentially be in your neighborhood. Whoever makes the most noise, whoever wants this the most, their city council person is going to bring that to city council and fight for it. I would start there, because that seems to be your number one concern at this point, is getting it developed.
I agree with you very much. In fact, I had thought deliberately that rather than beg one city council member for some land, let it be known that we will locate where the door is widest open and invite the council members to compete among themselves for our presence.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And one thing that I was thinking about to follow up with that was that since getting land is your first real priority right now, I would tend to focus on that and really get people engaged in that whole process. And once that's acquired, of course in that neighborhood there'll be most enthusiasm, but once it's acquired at all, the whole thing takes on another level of magnitude of realism. And you have all those people who tried to compete for, who tried to do small social media, little incremental activities, they all have a little bit more investment in helping with the next stage.
So how could social media be used to focus advocacy by members of a given neighborhood or councilmanic district on behalf of locating there?
Did you have a suggestion about that?
Yeah. Thanks. I was going to say, I mean, well, to follow up on that, I think it probably just makes sense not to focus yet, but to find community support in Philadelphia in general. So to build your network, and I wanted to come back to the website and potentially provide some ideas on how to convert people into people that are following you or interested in you, whatever. The homepage, I think, is a little bit distracting. I think that you can make it a little bit more, you can make your goal a little bit more concrete to your users. Potentially even use your video. It looks like you put a lot of time and energy into that, and people appreciate that. I think they enjoy watching videos. And I think to be a little bit more concrete about what it is you want from them at that stage. So the volunteer process, it looks very complicated to me. There's a lot of text. There's just a lot of, I have to do a lot of work to tell you that I'm interested in working with you, which I just don't think is going to play out in your favor. The easiest thing, I mean, if I could suggest the landing page of your site might just be your video, a button is like, find out how to help now, something like that. You click it, you put in your name, your email address, done. And from that point on, you have a way to communicate with those people, which is your monthly newsletter, what have you. Of course, you'll give people the ability to share your video, tweet your video, which is a way to engage them on other social platforms as well.
Good.
All right. How are we doing time-wise, Andrew?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
About 2 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
1 minute.
All right. Well, okay. Choose. All right. And I actually have a suggestion too, so, but go ahead. Who we got there? Great.
Do you actually have a budget that you need, right? Initial budget?
We have written a budget.
Okay.
Actually, we're very encouraged that, in fact, before reaching out to the public, before asking for money, we've received about $6,800 in donations before asking for money.
Okay. And do you have a board of directors as well?
We have an advisory board which consists of heavy hitters in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And we have then an interim ad hoc board, but want to wait until we have selected a neighborhood before we start having elections, because this is, I say, to be member-owned.
Have you talked to the CDCs within the councilmanic districts to community development corporations.
You're right, that needs to be done systematically. It's such a huge and broad task that I thought we would get around to that as we began to focus. But you're right, I have talked in West Philly, South Philly, North Philly, and Kensington so far. Various people.
All right.
Yeah.
Stan?
Okay.
All right.
I would suggest that you rethink how you're thinking about this and think about it from the perspective of you running a contest. What neighborhood would love to have this? You have a wonderful idea. You don't need to push the idea any further. You have a great sales tool. You have a good idea. What you want now is a group or a community of people who really want to have it. We want it more than they'd want it. And maybe 4 communities all joined and they have it on their border so that the 4 communities want it. And so you have to reach out, offer people the idea, and say, okay, you have to compete. Please compete for this idea. And we will take the people who bring the most resources to it. Don't tell them what resources they need. They can figure that out. They know what's needed. Let them do it.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you all for...
Wait. Oh, I had an idea for you.
You got it. Thank you, too.
Yes. One of the great things about, social media is that, it can also help your search engine optimization for your website. So I would suggest taking a lot of the information that you shared with us tonight and taking those little bits of information and put a blog on your website and then just chunk it out. Like you have your Medicash and you can say, so-and-so signed up, to be whatever, Medicash, whatever it is. You can even possibly do, a few sentences about whatever that business is, and you link to them, so then you're getting your cross-linking. That business will link to your site because you've written something about them, and you tweet about that, Facebook about it, that sort of thing. But you've got a lot of really wonderful content, and just having it on your web, and having it on your website's good, and a blog is on your web, but the blog potentially can push it out more because, you can start. You publish it on whatever type of schedule. You just take these bits and pieces, and then you put links in there out to whoever if say you met with a council person, so you could put a blog post about that. You link to that council person's site. Whatever other information. You put it out. Then you tweet and you put Facebook information about that. And then the other thing is that I don't know how much you're doing on your sites in terms of your own outreach from, say, Facebook. Are you liking other types of organizations' pages that are similar, have similar concerns that you do, and then they'll start paying attention to what you're doing. And the same with Twitter. And so just kind of paying attention and just basically socializing on social media. So that would just be a suggestion. As I said, I think as I said, you have a lot of content, and if you just put it up there periodically, the search engines like that, and it also gives people more reason to come back to your site. So, yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Okay. And by the way, anybody who has further suggestions either about the website specifically or how the Patch Adams Clinic can use social media, we always have time at the end of our presentations for people to take you aside, do more one-on-one conversations. So please, be sure to do that with Paul and Jim. And
as Denny is usually the first to mention, after the entire session, many of us go out for a drink or a bite where some of this conversation continues informally. So everyone is invited to that.
Right.
Ready to switch over to
Okay. Yeah, shall we do the contest now?
Okay, so as we're switching off people sitting at the presenter's desk, I think we're going to give away the door prizes. I think that honor goes to Gloria. Did anyone not sign up for door prize who still wants to? Last minute? And another one for Diane. Going. Okay, I think we're ready.
Okay, I actually have two prizes to draw for. One is a ticket to PodCamp Philly. It's a whole big $20 value. But to tell you a little something about PodCamp, we actually run the event entirely on sponsorships. All of the money that we collect from our ticket sales goes to a charity every year. We've given money to Covenant House. We've given money to the Science Leadership Academy. There's one other, and I'm blanking on what it was. But what we do, the reason we even charge an admission is the reality is people become invested as soon as they pay for something, and they actually show up. So.
And the more you pay, the more likely you are to show up.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually don't have, I have a certificate for the Social Media Plus ticket because this PodCamp one was a last minute. What I'll have to do is whoever the winner is, be sure and see me, give me your email address and your information, and I'll make sure it gets sent to you. And, sorry, I really need new glasses, and I can't see.
Mitch Colley or?
Mitch, okay.
I'm going to pass on the...
Oh, you are?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll draw another one then. Jim Wurster?
Oh, hey! Just wanted to assure everyone that there was no fix.
That's right.
And then when Tall gets the next one.
All right, this, what we're going to draw for now is the ticket to Social Media Plus. As Seth said, it's a value of $495. This is a ticket to the conference on November 16th at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. And Andy Sharp?
See, all your attendance is paying off.
All the directions on how to register for the free ticket are right there, and my contact info is there.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Gloria.
So while we're waiting for Generosity to set up, I just want to repeat what Seth said. I feel that I am remiss, as I did not mention earlier, about how we always go out after our meetings here, and everyone is invited. So whether you're here for the first time, I'm going to watch my hands, whether you're here for the first time or many times, we just all go out, and it's just a very casual conversation, and there's usually a lot of good humor and some drinking if you want to. And it's just a way for people to get to know others in the group a little better. So please, as I said, you're all 100% absolutely invited to join us.
Yes.
You almost ready? Okay. All right. So our next presenter is Generosity, which connects people to causes in the greater Philadelphia region. And its website aligns news, networking, and action all in one place. The project is designed to encourage people who have like-minded interests and projects and just their own interests. And it facilitates a public discourse on issues that are often overlooked by traditional media. And I'll let Dave explain a little more about what that means and also give you more details on this site and the organization. Which how long has Generosity been around? You have been here around for a bit, right?
We've been around as an organization for almost 2 years, as a website about 2 months.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're seeing the emerging infant website of an organization that's got some legs here in Philly already and is looking to expand. So take it away, Dave.
Okay, first I want to apologize if this presentation seems a little disjointed because I wasn't supposed to be the person delivering it. So I made some notes that will hopefully keep me structured. I'm up here with Stephen Sontag from Mighty Engine, which is a interactive marketing firm that developed the website for us and also is responsible for our social media campaign. And what I'd like to do is to do a brief introduction to some of the thinking behind Generocity and then ask Stephen to go through a quick tour of the site itself so you can get a sense of how we're going about doing this. In its broadest terms, what we say that Generosity is about is three things. It's about cause journalism, it's about citizen philanthropy, and it's about ethical consumerism. The cause journalism piece really is that we want to be able to tell the stories of what's happening in the community among people who are trying to improve the quality of life in the community. That can be everybody from a Red Cross volunteer to the work of the thousands of nonprofits in the region, or the individual down the block who pulls together the kids for a basketball league to try to keep them out of trouble. We want to tell the stories of those people. There are no other resources we think that are generally available to the general public that really are telling the story about the people in this region that are actually spending every day trying to do something to make life better for all of us, and we want to be that platform for those stories to be told. And we're hoping that by telling those stories, we'll attract the kinds of people as members of Generosity, and we'll talk a little bit about what being a member means, so that care about that kind of stuff and build a community, a social network, if you will, of people in the community who care about the community in a way that really hasn't been done in this particular region probably ever since the age of mimeograph machines and phone trees. Our second goal is to help every individual in the region understand that they can be a philanthropist. We tend to think, when we use the term philanthropy, of people who have a lot of money, who have access to a lot of information to figure out what is it they should do with their lot of money that they're contributing to charity. We want to make it possible for people who have $50 to give to have the same level of information about what would be a good way to spend that money. And we want them to have a wealth of choices for where they want to donate their money or where they want to put their time or what cause that they want to spread the word about through their social networks. And by ethical consumerism, what we mean is making it easier for people to find businesses whose work is aligned with the things that they believe in, and also to help nonprofits partner with businesses on cause marketing campaigns or in other ways that they can be mutually supportive. And as part of our revenue generation strategy, we also want to be the place where businesses can tell the stories about their corporate citizenship, their corporate social responsibility. There are very few mechanisms by which companies that are doing good work in the community really get the opportunity to tell the world of people who might care about that, who we hope will be the thousands of members of Generosity. They don't have places to tell the people they want to get that message out to about the work that they're doing, and we hope Generosity will be that. And basically, the way we want to do all of these things is by providing some reasonably up-to-date social networking tools that would be available for free to nonprofits, to people who are working in their communities. There are some functionality that we're developing that is specifically for the corporate sector that won't be available for free, that they'll have to pay for. We're hoping that also the corporations, in addition to paying for the use of that functionality, will also be interested in advertising on the site to reach out to the population of civically engaged people that we hope to generate through Generosity. The backbone of Generosity is going to be having a lot of members. Right now we have a couple of hundred members who've been mostly helping us with the beta testing phase of the site, which we're still in, though tomorrow we're sending out an email to about 30-some thousand people, reminding them that the site, we're telling them really for the first time that the site is up and operating, and hoping that we get a few more members that way. Our goal is to recruit 30,000 members of Generosity in the first year, and the people at Mighty Engine are running our campaign to do that. And so what I'd like to do at this point is ask Stephen to go through a little bit of the functionality of the site and hopefully speak to you in a language that's a little bit easier for you techie types to understand.
I will say. So all those goals that David spoke about, the cause journalism and philanthropy and the other stuff, really what it means from the web development side is that there's three sort of integrated systems on the site. One, it's a fully featured online publication. And right down on the homepage, you'll see the content. We're adding new content all the time. A bunch of new stories went up today. And, for the last 2 months or so, a lot of the content's been sort of placeholder content, but from today moving forward, you're going to see much more relevant and lively content on the site. One example of sort of a content series that we're running right now is this 9/11 campaign. So if you have stuff that your organizations or about organizations that are doing things of interest for 9/11, be sure to let us know. There's this little thing right here about stories we should be covering. Also, by the way, we're running a social media campaign. Anyone that's doing any kind of 9/11 related events or topics, just include the hashtag I honor 9/11, and we'll pick it up and we'll help you promote your events. Just ask that you do the same for any of our stuff if you're interested. So basically, the homepage is a news page, a news site page, and there's going to be all this content sort of categorized in these different ways. We're looking all the time to add richness to some content. By the way, we're looking for bloggers too, if anyone's interested in blogging on, see these green topics here, animals, arts and culture. Particularly if you're interested in blogging in any of these areas, let us know. We might be able to work with each other to you can help us add some content to the site. So there's this online publication system. There's also a more or less fully featured social media platform that is built into the site. So you'll see I'm logged in here as myself. If I wasn't logged in, there would be a call to action right here to become a member of Generosity, an individual membership. And you would log in there and you provide your name and email address, and it's like signing up for Facebook, that kind of thing. And you'll have an individual profile. Here's my individual profile. These are my niece and nephew, and these are some of my fundraiser stories I've liked along the site. So you can see as you go through the site, you can start having a profile of your activities here, and people can follow you, and I can push stuff out to my Facebook or my Twitter accounts that are logged into the system, that I give into the system. And the whole reason for integrating this sort of social media functionality into the site is to give both nonprofits and individuals the tools they need to raise money via social media. The goal here is to have a platform that folks can use on their own for free. There's no charge to become an individual member. You can use all the tools we have online for free to help raise money for particular causes that are of interest to them, and particular nonprofits in particular. Let me show you in this giving section. We have two sorts of built-in functionality. One is called a fundraiser. So if I, as Stephen, want to create a fundraiser, I can create a fundraiser. Someone here created one for cat lovers. I guess it benefits some sort of Pals for Life, which is an animal nonprofit. So you would start a fundraiser, and then you could use all the social media tools to push it out to all your social media friends and followers. It also gets some highlighting on the site itself. And the goal is to get people to donate to your through your fundraiser to your nonprofit. People can donate directly to nonprofits from the site. So the third part of the site is probably the region's, at this point, we're the most comprehensive directory of nonprofits in the region, I would think, or one of them. We got a lot of information from GuideStar and other public sources and to pre-populate, but we also allow people the ability to come in and enter their and edit their, make suggested edits to their individual nonprofit listing. So this is a nonprofit listing for a nonprofit called Children's Village, which is a daycare provider. It's based in Center City. And you see that they have all their sort of information filled out the nonprofit and what they do. I can donate directly to here. The entire back end of the system is based on PayPal. So any nonprofit that comes here and makes sure they have a listing on our site can set their listing up so they can receive a donation through Generocity to their nonprofit. So again, we don't charge the nonprofit any fees whatsoever, any transaction fees. PayPal does. PayPal charges 2 or 3%, I think, of the transaction, 2.4. But there are other similar competing services to Generocity, which are out there, that charge up to 15% that they take just for their own administrative fee. Generosity charges 0. And if you'll notice, this ad went up today, so you're all sort of getting a sneak preview of it. From time to time, Generosity is going to run what we call these flash drives, which are sort of, drives that we hope, membership drives and other things that we hope get people inspired to come on the site and to start using it. Go ahead, you have a question?
Oh,
if you, okay. Any of you have a nonprofit out there, especially 501c3? If you already have a PayPal account, there's a few easy steps you have to do to associate that PayPal account with your Generosity nonprofit listing. And if you do that, Generosity will give you $50 to the first 100. We just put this out the other day, and I think we have something like 25 or 30 already, people that have already signed up, so it's going quickly. I think that's it in terms of an overview. It's a new site, a site with a lot of giving tools built into it. It has a social media platform, and it has the nonprofit listings and sort of a wiki directory because people are going to hopefully add to and enrich the nonprofit directory going forward over time.
Did you used to have feeds for your Twitter and Facebook or not? They're on here, right?
We have this stuff.
Right, okay. All right.
I'm not sure what the nonprofit page. And for some of these ones we have sub-Twitter feeds.
All right.
Or
All right. If there, I'm going to read the 3 questions that we had on our sheet on our website that you had asked for. And I don't know if you want to just could you get into your Facebook page while I'm reading that just so we can take a look at that? Okay, so that is clearly, it's a very substantial site and very substantial amount of social media capability that's already built in. So let's try and figure out ways that other types of social media can integrate with what their own internal social systems. So I'm going to read the 3 questions that they had submitted in advance that they were interested in us addressing, and then, of course, any other comments that you want to make about what they've already discussed are, of course, fine. But just to get things rolling, the 3 questions are: aside from using Twitter and Facebook to push out our news articles and links to interesting sites, what are ways we can use Twitter and Facebook to engage people in Philadelphia who care about social issues? Second question is, what are best practices for blogging, and are those rules different for nonprofits? And the third question is, what has been your experience with social fundraising tools, and how could that experience have been improved or had greater impact? So I'm sure there are people in our crowd that have some experience in all 3 of those areas that the questions address. So I will now open it up for your wisdom.
Somebody wants.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't have a great deal of experience with this, but when on that first item, you talk about pushing out the links and your articles, and especially with Twitter, I would say that you probably want to also adopt a conversational approach where it's not just pushing information out. Especially at the stage that you're in right now, you want to try to engage all these other nonprofits. You can kind of help promote each other, so it's more conversational rather than just pushing information out.
Got a question in the back? Or a suggestion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what you just said. Consider bringing people physically together that still engaging. And I was going to comment on the blog. Best practice. My experience is a lot it has a lot to do with the subject you post. You find if you tackle subject that people are interested in and they're not covered by the mainstream media, well, the search engines are going to find you and they're going to bring traffic to you. As simple as this. I have an opinion on one side that the blog post shouldn't be more like than 2 paragraphs, and I think it's bullshit. I think if you really spend some time on building a catch title, a title which attracts people's attention, and the first paragraph which really state the issue, and then structure the rest of the article. Really structure, put paragraphs and titles just to make the job of the reader easier. People read it, and even if it's a long post. There's way too. I mean, this is my opinion. There's way too much surface journalism out there. And anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, well,
Well, hi, just adding to the first comment about conversations in Twitter. Twitter has, I'm sure you know, but Twitter has quite a lot of facilities for being able to put selected tweets on your website somewhere in a box. And there's quite a bit of flexibility in doing that. You can either have appear automatically or you can select it and so on. So that would be a way to let other nonprofits get their tweets onto your page, which I think would be a tool for engagement.
Yeah, continuing on the same line, I think the interaction could go a step further by having either live chats or video from either the thought leadership within your organization about giving in small amounts, because I agree that's a great compelling reason to have this organization, is that people want to give. We're the most generous country in the world. Everyone wants to give. Whenever there's a disaster, we text money. We don't even know where it's going. We just do it. So I feel like you've got an opportunity to really teach people what philanthropy means and to show them with video and with actual conversation where the dollars are going and how it's making an impact. That's incredibly powerful. I also think if there's a way to connect your personal interests to some cause, either through a Facebook app, for example, so that if I wanted to go run a marathon tomorrow and I wanted to raise money for a charity that I care about, I could then use that app on Facebook and say, every time you give me money, it's going to this charity, and it's being, sort of embedded in my profile. But I do have a concern about the members' corner. I don't know if anyone else has the same concern, but adding another area that I have to become a member to can be a hurdle. And I feel like if there's a way to accomplish that using an existing network like Facebook and just create an app that if suddenly I'm part of it, like I do with the MS Ride for cancer, for the MS Ride or a cancer run, I don't have to then go join another organization. So that's something to consider as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, are there, I'm just curious about other thoughts about that, the internal social ecosystem that they've created there, just other, I guess, general thoughts, pro, con, whatever, in terms of, as you mentioned, is it a hurdle, or is it simplify things for some of these groups, or, what do people think about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got to the site, it was a hurdle. I wanted to, I was interested in what they were doing, and I wouldn't mind signing in. I did look for the Connect with Facebook button. I would highly recommend, if you want to reach, our demographic. We actually like signing in using Facebook. It's really simple. Along with that, there's just a couple nitpicks about a lot of the buttons had all caps lettering, which is harder to read. So you might want to reconsider that. Also, I would also consider the largest text was about citywide organizations, and then there was this tiny little link in the corner for an interactive map. And I'm not, strategically, I would, that might be the way to go. I'm not sure, but I would consider, with the future, if you have a future in mobile, for example, you might want to get more geographic data now so that you'll be well placed later when more and more people have smartphones and you have an app, and you'll be the go-to place for philanthropic events and journalism about those events later, that you can have it in your pocket. You'll be like walking down and you'll get a little notification there's an event later today you want to join. Yes. So, think about 3 years into the future when a lot more people have smartphones, and that geographic data could be a lot more valuable.
One of the things that I've always wished for is that the city had more coordination within various issue areas. There seems to always be a lack of leadership and lack of coordination, and this may be a way to allow people to come together. I would hope that perhaps it does. So I would encourage whatever, if it's a blog process or some other process, to encourage people to try to think together and maybe even provide some sort of facilitation to attempt to bring consensus around issues and solutions.
Okay. Are there any specific other? Whoops. Okay. All right. Any other ways? I said, why don't we talk about the biggies, which would be, I guess, you would take YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I mean, they have a lot of content. I didn't see video per se, but I saw otherwise, a lot of content that could be repurposed or pushed out or done something with socially. Do people have some thoughts in terms of what are the best ways they can capitalize on that through those social networks?
My idea was something completely different. Would you prefer to concentrate on that?
Well, I guess I'm just trying to stick within social media realm rather than just basically discussing the layout or the context of the website. So if it's social media, you're good.
I think it is. I'm not sure if it's a clear line, but I think, first of all, I think you guys have done a great job. So I think it's well laid out, and there's a lot of great things happening. So congratulations. The one thing I was going to suggest is you can kind of position yourself as a LinkedIn for nonprofits or something of that nature, right? So you have the opportunity potentially to create widgets like Facebook has, like LinkedIn has, and as a value add for nonprofits, allow people to donate very easily by adding. Allow their users to donate very easily by them adding a widget to their website that says donate. Just like a like, you got the donate. So that is, I think, an opportunity for you to maybe engender some support.
Okay. Ivan, is it just your own or from the stream?
My own.
Okay.
So to go along with that, the idea of having widgets that can be used as a kind of social media in themselves that nonprofits can put on their websites. What I feel like is holding that back right now is the fact that you have to have an account just in order to donate. And to me, if I'm a nonprofit, that doesn't sound very attractive to me, that every potential donor has to create an account on your website in order to donate money to me. And I mean, all you really need if you were to create an account, the information you would put in there, your website will be receiving in the context of someone giving a donation. So it seems like it wouldn't be that hard to structure the workflow so that as someone gives a donation, you can say, sign me up for this account or whatever, and just use that information in the process of them donating, rather than as soon as you click the donate button, hitting this wall of you need an account in order to donate.
Yes.
Thank you. So there were a couple of things that I think are are related in my mind. I'm not sure how much they will be related as I say them out loud. But I think tying in the idea of, Ivan's concern about making sure that they don't have to log in separately with the Facebook, being able to tie into existing logins so that people aren't, you're not just adding to the problem of we all have too many logins, probably 50 or 60 too many logins, and so making sure we can reuse some of the existing. But I think working with it, the conversational aspect of being able to make sure that when I donate that I'm given a really clear opportunity to tweet that or put it up on my Facebook wall, that as you develop bloggers, that those bloggers are gathering, the other information that's out there, and so it's not just about our information, us, but okay, somebody asked about this particular aspect of giving, and we found a really great resource over here. So instead of recreate that, we're going to direct you to those other good resources and make yourself the hub to ask the question, even if you're not always the answer yourselves, but bring it in. The other piece of it that, to go back to the earlier comment about the blogs, I think he's right that longer content, if it's good, can do just fine. I think there are a lot of websites out there that the reason their long content doesn't do well is A, it's no good, or B, the whole page it's wrapped in is entirely too busy. So you're trying to keep your eyes on small text that's got 19 flashing, bouncing, watch my Twitter feed fly by while I show you 16 ads for cars you can't afford, but not stopping and doing basic readability of, hey, can somebody read 9 paragraphs on this screen? Whether or not they'll take the time, but is it physically possible, or do they get a headache 3 paragraphs in, so to heck with you?
Does anyone have some thoughts on how they might be able to network with some of the different organizations and groups that they're apparently, they're already connected to, right, within your site, but, how to integrate what you're doing with their social networks? Gloria, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I actually have a couple thoughts for you. One on that very topic. When you're talking about best practices for blogging for nonprofits, strongest thing for a blog for a nonprofit is the compelling stories you have. Because generally you're working with a need, or you're filling a gap that's not there. So one of the things I would do in working with the organizations that are signing up to be on your site is regularly post a guest post from one of them. And have an editor. Don't just throw up whatever they send you, because keep in mind they probably don't have bloggers on their staff, so make sure you're editing it and making sure it's readable, but have a regular guest post from one of the organizations. The other thing we were talking about live chats with Twitter. There is actually a couple of really good chats that are already out there, all about social good. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what the hashtags are, but I can find them for you. One of them is actually run by somebody here in Philadelphia. And I would get involved, be on those chats, get your name out in front of people who are already in that same mindset, the same realm that you're in. And the other thing, too, that I would keep in mind, because one of the things, I actually looked at your site a while ago. Mike Kaiser had asked me to take a look at it. And one of the pieces of feedback that I think is you do a really good job getting people to be advocates for the nonprofits that are on your site. Don't forget about getting people to be advocates for you.
Good.
And while you're walking around, I just want to reinforce something that Gloria said, which is the idea that on social media, that your content to become involved in other forums and things that aren't specifically that you're not necessarily driving. You're there, interacting. You're just even if you're not interacting, even for the chat, sometimes maybe you can, if you want, just sort of lurk once or twice, to see how they go, and then get inside them. But that will help give you some ideas also of how that ecosystem works, and kind of how people are communicating within that space. It's not like it's going to be a foreign language, but it can be a little different, so it will help with your understanding.
Yeah, I had one other comment about the Twitter, and we talked about being conversational. Have you used the tool Clout?
Yeah.
Clout. Okay, because that at least gives you a rough idea of how your the responses are.
Right.
Were you able to pull up your Facebook page?
Yeah, we have it.
Okay. Okay, so here's their Facebook page. Let's take a look and see what type of content.
Typically posting about stories, stuff that's going on, either on our site or around the world.
Are you manually doing that?
We have a tool that we use, a scheduling tool and metrics, analytics tool that we use.
That pushes it to the page.
Yes.
Okay, are there some thoughts on how they might be able to perhaps instill a little more interaction on the site?
Put some contests on it.
Yeah. What? Yeah, oh, sorry. All right. I should probably have the mic, then I'll be able to.
So a couple of things for the Facebook page. One is you have a few hundred people who have liked you, so you can get a short URL for the page.
Yeah. I think we need.
So one quick thing. Another is when you first come onto the page, the Facebook page, you can set a some sort of custom landing tab instead of dumping people right onto your wall.
Right.
That can talk about what generosity is, and you can also the Facebook terms are pretty strict on how you do this, but you can encourage people to like your page in exchange for something, becoming part of some contest or getting some information or stuff like that. The terms are restrictive as to exactly how you phrase it and how you do it, but I know a lot of other organizations use that sort of like our page and something cool will happen to get more people drawn in early on.
Okay. Josh.
As you can tell by sitting in this room in front of us, people like to talk about things. So I would recommend perhaps putting a few questions out there. That works for me on some of my own personal social media pursuits. Is sample.
Oh.
Gosh, well, I mean, I'll give you an example for my own side business. I'm a musician, and I ask people, what is your favorite blues musician to dance to? And it got a surprising result. There was a lot of engagement. So find a current event that's relevant and allow people to speak about it.
Okay, you had a question in the back? I'm sorry.
Just another suggestion. I mean, it's a small sample, so you may do this already, but if you don't @reply, if you're doing a story about an organization, you don't @reply. You want to @reply them in your Facebook feed so that it shows up on their wall and then their network and followers see it. So just a simple thing you can do on Facebook if you're not doing it already. Also on your Twitter feed, which I've been following for a while, which I think is great. I think the editorial content is really good. I might think about differentiating the content you put up there in terms of your clearinghouse strategy. So, okay, reader share. We're sharing something really cool that we saw, or call to action, donate to this cause, or we are at this event tonight. I mean, differentiate between stuff that you're doing internally and things that are happening outside your organization. That may help your reader sort of sift through or differentiate the types of content you post.
Yeah, you would seem to have quite a lot of opportunities to RT as well, because you have so many organizations. So, that's always a good thing to tip your hat. RTs are appreciated, and someone can notice you, and they can, the organization that you RT, then they may become your follower on Twitter as well. And does anyone have some suggestions as far as hashtags that they can use on Twitter that are, popular or that they could create for themselves?
I'm generous. If you gave.
I say one of the things I get in the habit of doing is if I'm posting on a topic, making sure you do a search first to look for hashtags that already are existing. So if you're if you're putting up something about you're highlighting an organization, either checking their feed to see what they've been using or do a quick couple of searches on their issues so that you get some sense of what else might be out there. Because they change every couple of minutes and keeping up is a bit of a challenge. So I just don't bother. I just try to figure it out when I need it.
Just in time hashtag.
Exactly.
Are there any other thoughts on social fundraising? I know there's a fair number of people, at least within our group, that have had experience with that. Did you have
I attended a Chamber of Commerce event on fundraising, and there was this idea that a lot of organizations are so afraid of the competition out there because pickings are slim now, that you could partner. One of the idea was actually partner with another organization and do a super duper fundraiser, and then you get all the publicity. Both organizations get the publicity that the other one has to share, and you don't necessarily have to think that you're sharing or splitting resources. You might get more with more publicity that way. So joining with someone else.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you have a? You look like no.
Sorry.
I just had a question. Like, how much resources? I mean, I saw that you had I don't remember off the top of my head, 7 different animals and human rights and advocacy. I mean, that seemed like a lot of separate sites to keep up. And I don't know from groups like this. I'm just personally curious. What kind of resources does it take to have a well-written blog on all of that? And is that, what does that take? And would it make sense possibly to consolidate a little bit into 3 categories or something?
We mostly get complaints from people. That we should have 15 and 20 and 30 of the categories, not go after the world.
Because you don't have their category just yet?
Well, on the blog, it takes a lot of time. To me, it takes me quite a bit of time to write an article I'm happy with. So actually, recently I went out and found writers. And everybody who wants to write doesn't necessarily, I'm going to be really blunt, doesn't necessarily know how to write. Simple sentences go a long way. So it takes quite a bit. I mean, at least for me, there are people who can write that's fantastic if you find it. So what a lot of people do is really newsfeed. So for me, a blog is a magazine. A newsfeed is a newsfeed. It's you basically posting basically doing a query with a filter on what other people put out there. That's not a blog. For me, a blog is original content on something that you have something to say about, preferably, or a piece of information that is not, again, carried in the mainstream media. It's time.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that a little bit in terms of a question in terms of I don't know what your criteria is for blogging or, in terms of the type of articles that are going up there. A category, just for example, like arts. I mean, there is a lot of other arts writing, but there might be other categories that you have that there really isn't much written about it otherwise, and so you would be like the special place where it was. Is there some sort of criteria? What is your logic in terms of what those areas are, and are you trying to build up some certain audiences specifically for your site?
Okay.
I was just going to say that that's really a question for our content editor. But
Yeah, I think at the moment we came up with those categories based on the 12,587 nonprofits that are represented on the site. So we didn't want to start by being associated with just one or the other type of cause area. I think at various times we will probably have sort of a thematic approach to what's on the site, so that we will, for example, we just recently made an arrangement with an organization called Coming of Age, which helps to engage the boomer population, to start focusing for a period of time where we're focused on stories around boomers being engaged in their communities, similar to the 9/11 campaign that we're having now. We're always concerned that we're not going to be able to keep up enough current and interesting content. Right now we're working with about 20 freelancers, and we have one full-time editor working with those 20 freelancers, and we're hoping that the community will be submitting stories to us that we will be able to edit so that they're appropriate for our site.
Anything else? Any other parting thoughts? So we're ending. Whoop, Jim.
Instead of waiting for people to come and give you stories, go out and get them.
That is what we've been doing up until this point. We're hoping to be overwhelmed by the number of people who submit stories to us as well.
Do you have anything in a different language than English?
Not at present, no.
That's a great point, though. If they did have something that was in some of the.
Back on that since you stepped up. We do work in the immigrant community, and one of the things that we're finding is that there's a whole accessibility issue.
Sure,
and I think that that could be a very innovative consideration. So.
And are either of you volunteering to?
That is
To be their first foreign language blogger?
We could talk, because I think that
absolutely.
it is something a very
especially with
untapped
the
area.
wealth of immigrant communities we have in the city now. It's
Absolutely.
Right, and if you have, I don't know what the organization, your member organizations, you probably have some, right, that are, so that might be something good to do.
And we've heard that from some of the organizations that are on the site already.
So they can help solve that gap, right, fill that gap, right. Okay. Oh, yes?
You know, on that, one easy way to begin is to put Google Translate on the site.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least people can see that. And one thing, though, that happens is if you get articles written by people in the community in their language, that's a lot better than what people are going to get from Google Translate. Not just because of any translation problems, but because it's focusing on what they want to focus on. But that's harder to do, to get to cover a lot of language as well.
In the spirit of there are no stupid questions, does Google Translate work reasonably well?
Well, I'm not happy with it.
You get the general idea.
More of a site in Russian or Japanese or Mongolian or whatever, and click English, and pretty much understand what they're using.
But the one thing you'll have to look out for is that it will change the flow on your web page.
Sure.
Perhaps make it unreadable.
Well, the translation happens on the user end, right? But it
happens on the website.
Is that the way it works? It changes the...
Well, there are different ways. There are different ways to do it.
Okay.
Different ways to set it up. One way is to put the in one of my bookmarks is English, and I got that from Google, so I didn't change anything in English. But the other thing is on my site, on my one of my blogs, they can select any of the 54, I think, different languages that Google Translate currently handles, and they see page in those languages. Well, I don't know personally how good the translations are, but I hear that they're better than anything else you can get for free.
It's better than not having them.
Okay, so it sounds like a little more investigation in that area, but it might be a good option for you.
That's extremely helpful.
Oh.
I really appreciate it.
Go ahead, please.
How are your search engine parameters determined? I get overwhelmed. Like I'm looking here, just click on the single category of environment, and I'm finding McGee Hospital, rehab, and I'm finding all, 1,626 entries, and I'm looking for environmentally concerned organizations. I'm just not going to go through very much of this.
Are you talking about in the nonprofit, searching for nonprofits?
Yeah, searching for nonprofits that are involved in a certain area.
Not to pass the buck, but those were tags that we were inherited from GuideStar data. So it's how the organization reported itself on its 990 form.
Makes me want to run away when I see 1,200 entries, and I want to know who is in Philadelphia working with children with disabilities, and I'm finding every church listed, and I'm finding every other single thing that is on the website. In this,
There's definitely going to have to be some improvement to that as we go forward, but we're just starting off, so we're using the inherited data for the time being.
And the hope, right, as David says, the hope is that as people suggest edits and to their nonprofit listings, that the information will become much richer and much more relevant and much more, on point in terms of.
Do the nonprofits put their own tags in there? Is that how they get listed?
They can, yeah.
Well, they can tag according to the 8 causes. Right. It's pretty limited to just that.
So, but there's nobody checking to see if they're really.
No. In fact, I spent an entire week myself correcting a lot of the tags of the 13,000 nonprofits we have on the site. And I've been around for a long time, but I still don't know who they all are.
Hard, okay. Is there any other thoughts for generosity? Okay, then. Thank you both for coming. And
anyone who couldn't see from their seats, it's generosity.org, and it's generosity spelled with a C.
Can you switch back to that? Okay. So I want to thank Manisha for taking these notes, and we'll send those back out to everyone, and for Steve for pushing the cameras and getting the stream out. Also, John for greeting people, and Andrew for timekeeping, and Ivan for doing the Twitter chat, and of course our presenters from both organizations, and Denny for pulling this all together. It was a large group volunteer effort, and it was interesting, and I think I appreciate everyone for coming and contributing to it. Thank you very much.